Out of nowhere, the promised patch for Dragon Ball FighterZ is hit, and it's actually bigger than I expected. They're not just nerfing Lab Coat 21, everyone got some changes. Now, some are bigger than others, and in this video, we're only gonna focus on the big ones. So if we don't mention your character, they probably got some quality of life adjustments, they probably got a few buffs, just nothing that will be absolutely game-changing. And it all starts with a universal change to Sparking Blast. When you super dash an opponent, usually they will leave the ground. Well, in Sparking Blast, this doesn't happen anymore, so you won't need to spend a bar to vanish after catching your opponent on the ground. Big buff to Sparking Blast, and it affects everyone. Also, not quite universal, but a lot of characters got affected by this. Most beams in this game can now be cancelled into a super dash. The previous patch already gave this to a lot of characters when you aim your beam upwards, but now it's just every beam. So Krillin, Yamcha, even Cell with his jumping Kamehameha, they can all super dash after their attack. This works on hit, on block, or on whiff. Even Android 21, and that's not even a beam. Funny enough, they didn't give this to Lab Coat 21, as she was definitely the protagonist of this patch, so let's check out her nerfs. First of all, the biggest nerf in this whole patch is to her debuff Super. You cannot combo into it anymore, and this is huge. Previously, any hit would lead into a debuff because you could just tag her in. Now she actually has to mix you up and hit with this raw. The invulnerability on the Super also starts later, but you still can't mash to counter it. She also got a big damage nerf in a lot of her moves, but they mostly remain unchanged in every other way, so you can still spin to win air-to-air battles. The forward spin, however, is now punishable on block, so she needs to be a bit more careful there. Lab Coat isn't dead by any means, she's still one of the strongest characters in the game, but at least it doesn't feel like she's mandatory anymore, so overall, this seems like a pretty good nerf. As for the other Android 21, she wasn't touched much, but her ground level 3 Oki is completely dead, which was deserved, though it is odd that some other level 3 mix-ups weren't touched, like Base Vegeta or Android 18. The air level 3 Oki was also nerfed, but this one doesn't seem dead yet. It looks like you can still mix. And from the biggest nerfs, let's talk about probably the biggest buff, and that's Yamcha. First of all, during his Wolfang Fist, he can now dash twice in any direction, which with all the full screen normals this game has now seems very necessary. He also has a new cancel from Wolfang Fist, and that's the Kamehameha. Now, the Kamehameha is still super slow, so this won't always connect, but it does open up some new combo routes if you've got the opponent on the right height. And you can do that easier now because of the new jumping down heavy. The opponent stays in the combo for longer, which now allows Yamcha to go back to the ground and Wolfang Fist. Paired up with a Kamehameha follow-up and the super dash after the beam, Yamcha actually deals damage now. On block, his jumping down heavy also has a couple of new cancel options. You can throw a Ki Blast or a heavy attack, essentially resetting your pressure if the opponent respects it. Krillin also got a pretty neat buff with the X AFTERIMAGE, as now it can cross up the opponent if you fake it. You can even steal the corner with it. And just like Yamcha, the new beam into super dash is giving him more damage with some new combo routes. Videl can now cancel her MOONSAULT kick into a super dash and other special moves, which means she can cancel her MOONSAULT into MOONSAULT into MOONSAULT into MOONSAULT into MOONSAULT into MOONSAULT into... And wrapping up the humans is Tien, who can now use telekinesis and combos. This gives him some new combo routes. The Chiaotzu level 3 can now also be cancelled from normals or special moves, which is going to be useful for situations like this, where you end the combo with a Dragon Rush into special into bomb. Next, let's talk about some Saiyans, starting with Adult Gohan. In addition to getting a ton of quality of life changes, the light version of Jet Uppercut was massively buffed, but only once you level up at least once. They improved the hit stun, so now you can loop with it, and the recovery isn't as big, so if you're leveled up, you can feel safer doing it. He's also got new leg loops thanks to the beam super dash change, and finally, you can level up as much as you want without the game slowing down. So if you want to spend 7 bars to level him up all the way now, you can totally do that and not get punished for it. Super Broly also got a huge buff, literally. When he does his level 3 super, instead of a 5% damage increase, now it's 15%. The level 3 itself also deals more damage, both in his buffed and unbuffed versions. 6H, the headbutt, travels way more, he can grab you from really far away now, and he can cancel into this move from any of his Ki Blasts or his beam. So Broly is about to hit us with this a lot more often. And if that wasn't enough, he has a new Ultimate Z change if you want it. Here's how it works. If you have a dead character and you're comboing the opponent, let's say you want to finish with a super and then call Broly for a level 1. Maybe that wasn't enough to kill, but if instead of calling Broly, you press the other assist button, the dead character's button, Broly comes in with his other super, meaning you have a level 2 super at your disposal if you want it. This Ultimate Z Change update was not exclusive to Broly. They also gave that to Gogeta Blue. Gogeta is largely unchanged except for this new Ultimate Z Change, which is honestly a pretty big buff because it also gives him access to a level 2 super once one of your teammates dies. And they also gave this option to GT Goku. But you might be asking, yo, GT Goku doesn't have a level 2. What do you mean? Spirit Bomb! GT Goku was already a character that got stronger once someone on your team died. And that's even more the case now because he gets stronger while on the bench. And yes, he can still Dragon Rush or throw a super after the Spirit Bomb. You can really dump meter if you've got GT in the back. Next, the protagonist Super Saiyan Goku has a couple of cool changes. In addition to the Beam Super Dash, of course, his medium and heavy version of the spinning kicks now anti-air. His medium overhead punch is now plus on block. And if he does a full Ki Blast Flurry, the last Ki Blast will wall bounce. Now, I haven't really found anything super game-changing about this wall bounce yet, at least not for this version of Goku. But if we move on to base Goku... oh boy, full screen confirmed for half a bar, and not only that, but his jumping 2M now has reduced recovery too. You can actually safe jump after this. And speaking of jumps, Trunks has new loops because that jumping Ki Blast has some increased hit stun. And his Flipperinos also got adjusted again, so he can do this. Fake cross up. This seems really hard to block. Also hard to block is the new Gotenks EX rolling kick. They adjusted the movement, so now this is possible. And if it's done well, no, you cannot down heavy. He did get his Ghost Key slightly nerfed. It still works if you do this jump back version, but if you land and backdash, the opponent can just vanish out of the corner and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think I'm missing a Saiyan. Oh, what were they thinking? Also, if you charge a Lariat, it pushes the opponent further away on block, so good luck punishing this now. We're done with Saiyans, let's look at the rest of the cast. Beerus, down medium, travels further. Again, I feel like I see this patch note on every patch, but hey, now it's full screen, you can't buff it anymore. That's as far as it goes. As a Kid Buu main, I'm really excited about his changes. Basically, he has a new gauntlet, as he can cancel every single one of his Ki Blasts into a medium attack. This gives him more combo options, more mix-ups, he's even more unpredictable than before. And his command grab is now an anti-air frame 1 on both the light and medium versions. It's not just the EX anymore. Android 16's jumping down heavy finally hits mid-screen. This opens up new combo options for him, and his Ki Blast is a lot faster too. It actually looks like a Ki Blast now. Next up, Hit. Cooler has a new off-the-ground option, which is this quarter circle back special move, so you can finish combos with a little bit of extra damage. I really love OTG options, so I had to bring this one up. And his heavy attack now goes further. It covers more distance in the same amount of time, so it seems much faster to me. And last but not least, Super Baby 2 got some adjustments to his Ki Blasts. First of all, if an opponent is blocking low, the second Ki Blast will whiff. And this is very good, because this means that whiffed Ki Blast will come back and hit the opponent from the back. And the opponent still blocks the first and third Ki Blast, so it's not like they have an opening there. Also in the air, he can now angle his Ki Blast upwards, so if the opponent is jumping, this could be a very good option for him. And that about does it. Overall, this patch did not solve most of the issues. Gogeta Super Saiyan 4, Gogeta Blue, probably even Vegito will remain at the top of tier lists. The only thing it kind of solved was lab coat, but some players are still saying that she's number 1. At least she doesn't seem as mandatory now, and I like that they didn't kill the character, but perhaps they were a bit too conservative with the nerfs. The best thing this patch definitely did was bring up some of the low tiers. Definitely not enough to dethrone the fusions, but enough to make a lot of players happy that they can play their favorites again and actually do well with them. Honestly, I think this patch was kind of underwhelming as far as balance goes, and yet, at the same time, some of these changes were really cool if your character was affected. I, for one, cannot wait to play more of the new Kid Buu, and I know you Yamcha, Adult Gohan, Super Broly mains do feel the same way. But let me know what you thought of the patch in the comments down below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!